Welcome to highlights of stage 14 of the 2019 Tour de France here on GCN Racing. Let's start by looking back at yesterday. Julian Alaphilippe ripped up the script for this year's Tour de France again in the Pau time trial. Not only did he defend his lead, he extended it with a blistering ride to take the stage and a power slide to celebrate. He had many reasons to do so, beating Geraint Thomas by 14 seconds and Thomas de Gendt by 36. He's certainly not going to give up this jersey easily, and he goes into today's stage leading Geraint Thomas by 1 minute and 26 with Steven Kruijswijk at 2 minutes and 12. Stage 14, we head to the high mountains, 111 kilometres from Tarbes, taking the leg loose in the Col du Tourmalet, a Cat 4 before the climbing proper starts with the Category 1 Col du Tourmalet. But it's the 87th visit to one of the giants of the Pyrenees, the Col du Tourmalet, that awaits. A mountaintop finish, 19 kilometres, with an average gradient of 7.4%. Attacks and counter-attacks galore as many big names fought to get into the breakaway of the day, Vincenzo Nibali being one. It's a 3-week investment to win the green jersey, and Peter Sagan knows this better than anyone, and he was keen to get into the move. Nibali and Sagan were very much the instigators of today's breakaway. More attacks though came from the peloton behind, and it would be 15 riders that formed the break of the day and included the likes of Leonard Kamna, King of the Mountains leader Tim Wellens, Zakarin, Mohoric and Calmejean, and the best place Guillaume Martin 9-2 down on Alaphilippe. Thibaut Pinot sent William Bonnet to the front for Groupama FDJ, while the yellow jersey sat just in front of Enric Mas. With 5 kilometres to go to the summit of the Col du Tourmalet, the breakaway was starting to fracture on the steeper slopes of the mountain. Peter Sagan was losing ground in the company of Matej Mohoric. It was time for Movistar to show their hand, and they did so early, taking over control of the peloton, with Quintana and Pinot both well positioned. With 4 kilometres to go to the top, this year's Tour de France was going from bad to worse for Romain Bardet as he lost contact with the back of the group. Getting into the early breaks and sweeping up the mountain points before the fight for the GC begins is the perfect tactic for a polka dot jersey challenger, and Tim Wellens took 20 points over the top of the Soulor, with Movistar still leading 143 behind the break. A demon descender, Nibali created a little distance on the descent, but this trio would regroup in the valley. The green jersey of Sagan had dropped back to the peloton, but he still had his eye on the points available towards that Maillot Vert. Still in pursuit was Zakarin, Sanchez, Calmejean, Sicard and Kamna, trying to get back up towards the front of the race. Business as usual though behind, as Sagan got his points and Movistar were looking ominously in control. But were they using up too many riders too early in the stage? The next man to try his hand was Romain Sicard, who went solo with 27 kilometres to go. It would have been a tall order to go all the way to the finish today as a breakaway, and Nibali, Wellens and Kamna were mopped up with 23 kilometres to go. Always the battler Jesper fought his way back to the front. This breathtaking shot though from above the Col du Tourmalet goes some way to do it justice. This climb is a beast and has crushed the hopes and dreams of many in Tour history. It wasn't long before Jesper pressed on alone, as behind in the peloton Amador was chatting with Soler and Valverde, with Pauls just behind. Adam Yates had been in trouble on the Soulor and lost contact again early on the Tourmalet, along with Patrick Conrad, who originally lost contact due to a mechanical. Jesper was finally caught, which was now led by Marc Soler. At the back, however, their teammate Quintana was in trouble, getting dropped by the pacemaking of his own team. So who were they riding for? It wasn't long though before Warren Barguil tried his hand at the front. It wasn't long ago that he was the darling of the French, and he went off in search of a stage victory. Sat at the back of the bus, Alaphilippe was still climbing with the best of them. Could he defy the doubters by staying there to the finish? The former Tour de l'Avenir winner, David Gaudu, picked up the pace on the front with this acceleration caught past Barguil. Richie Porte was losing ground just ahead, so too was Enric Mas. The 22-year-old Gaudu is a climbing sensation, ramping up the pressure for Groupama FDJ. With his work done, it was over to Laurens de Plus and George Bennett, who took over for Jumbo-Visma. Bennett's ferocious pace shed Barguil, Fuglsang and Uran, and it was a select group that still remained at the front, but perhaps some names we weren't expecting, and the Maillot Jaune was still fighting on. With the Flamme Rouge almost in sight, Emmanuel Buchmann's acceleration put Geraint Thomas into difficulty and he started to slide off the back along with Bennett. As we headed to the summit, still in contention were Pinot, Kruijswijk, Bernal, Buchmann, Alaphilippe and Landa. An acceleration from Pinot though, and he started to ride away. It was a phenomenal effort and the Frenchman was heading towards a memorable stage win at the top of one of the most iconic mountains in the Tour de France. Alaphilippe swelled French hearts further, taking second place just ahead of Kruijswijk, Buchmann and Bernal, with Landa not far behind. Fighting to limit their losses though were Rigoberto Urán, with Geraint Thomas just behind it. It was 30 seconds loss for Urán, while the defending champion a further 6 behind. 2019 though is definitely looking more and more like a tour for the home nation as Pinot takes his 3rd career Tour stage victory. Confirmation of your stage result, Pinot takes it from Alaphilippe and Kruijswijk, with Buchmann, Bernal, Landa, Urán, Thomas, Barguil and Fuglsang your top 10. They can start to believe further. Alaphilippe defies the critics and he now sits at the top 2 minutes and 2 ahead of Thomas, with Kruijswijk at 2 minutes and 14. Just how far could he go in this year's Tour de France? Stage 15 is another mountaintop finish, 185 kilometers from Limoux to Foix d'Albi. The stage is peppered with climbs, the Cat 2 Col de Montségur before the Cat 1's Porte de l'Air, the Mur de Purguer and the 11.8 kilometer mountaintop finish to Foix d'Albi. Whatever you do, don't miss it. This Tour de France is turning into a classic. Don't forget to subscribe to GCN Racing, click the bell icon so that you're notified every time we upload a new video. Join us for more action tomorrow.